Marvel Zombies, Protagonist becomes world's strongest hero. Episode 111. Today is the day of the Yi by Divine Flame lighting ceremony. The ceremony is not complicated, let alone prepare anything extra, just gather and compress the power of faith, and clarify what you want and what you want to be, which is also related to the attributes of the power of faith. Ancient people worshipped the immortal gods, their wishes were different, they asked for rain in times of drought, childless couples asked for pregnancy, and they sought peace for those who left home. For example, Guanyin, such as the god of wealth, and the dragon king who can reign, these all have formal priesthoods, and the belief in receiving goods will also be related to the priesthood. When Yi Bai let the puppet legion spread faith all over the world, there were specially let them hold a photo of Yi Bai, changing tricks to promote such as the god of magic shelter you, the god of magic is omnipotent, believe in the god of magic to get eternal life and so on, in order to better let people understand what magic is. The missionary also specially gives people this thing. Only when the believer knows what magic is, will the corresponding power of faith arise when he believes in him. He knew exactly what kind of him he wanted to become, and at this time, he was sitting cross-kneeled in an unoccupied stone room in the Vulture Palace. The candles here are not lit, but several magic balls of light provide light, making the stone chamber as bright as day. In his body, a large amount of faith power was compressed to the head position, let's call it the upper dantian. The theory of the upper dantian that he pulled out to Wu Xingyan some time ago has now been confirmed by himself with an alternative method, and I have to say that this is really dramatic. As a large number of beliefs poured into the upper dantian, opening up a spiritual space in it, Yi Bai gradually felt that the upper dantian could be used to do something. It can accommodate faith, can accommodate souls, can accommodate spirits, and if it is a legendary cultivation, this place will probably be used when condensing the Yuan God. The more faith gathers, the bigger and bigger the upper dantian. Among them, beliefs that belong to the concept of magic are individually tuned out and compressed towards the central point. At one point, a cluster of colorless flames burned. The moment the flame was born, the faith contained in the upper dantian began to converge into the flame, turning it into fuel to make him burn even more vigorously. Now that the ceremony is halfway through, such a fire of faith cannot last, and will be extinguished once the power of faith burns out. If you want to make the flame eternal, you need to integrate your soul, spirit, and self into a part of the divine fire. There are advantages and disadvantages to this. The advantage is that the soul is not dead, the divine fire is not extinguished, and it is easier to control the divine power transformed by faith. There are also many disadvantages, just like the cultivator who condenses the Yuan God loses his soul, and once the divine fire is extinguished, the soul of the person will be scattered. And when you have faith, you are strong, when you don't, you are weak, and when you completely lose your faith, you will become an ordinary person. It can be said that there is no turning back arrow when opening the bow. Stepping into this path can only go one way to the dark, do not reach the realm of the true God who condenses its own laws, and can never get rid of the shackles of faith. In fact, if Yi Bai hadn't been able to cross the endless world, he really wouldn't have taken this path. Now, everything is ready, and he has taken this step. The soul, spirit, and self are all thrown into the divine fire, and the color of the divine fire changes from colorless to colored at this moment, becomes vivid, and comes from the spiritual world to the material world, becoming a flame that can indeed be seen. The prayers of many believers sounded in his mind, and he could also locate believers according to their beliefs and lend their abilities to others. Countless prayers sounded like harassing phone calls, and I was a little irritated. He had a whim and planned to combine technology to get an automatic answer. There are not too many functions, there are automatic replies and interception of unwanted calls. The former can make believers believe that their own god of magic really exists, and make believers more religious. The latter can intercept believers harassing electricity. The best way to do this is to get an artificial intelligence, or magic thinking circuit, to act as a heavenly hotline operator. He has all of Stark's technology here, and it's perfectly fine to build an artificial intelligence. It took a little time for him to quickly program a set of artificial intelligence programs in his Sage Ring system, and used the ability of cross-dimensional networking to allow this artificial intelligence to connect to the other world network, download and learn various knowledge to grow. The growth rate of artificial intelligence is extremely fast. Don't believe you look at the Terminator set next door, Skynet's program, it took hours from startup to runaway blackening? Anyway, it wasn't past 24 o'clock. In occult theory, anything that gives birth to self-learning to think, even inanimate artificial intelligence, automatically gives birth to a soul after it learns to think. In order to avoid the loss of control of artificial intelligence, Yi Bai used magic means to forcibly enslave it and cut off the possibility of its rebellion as soon as the artificial intelligence learned to think and the soul was born. The Sage Ring has the function of connecting human nerves, running the artificial intelligence program in it, and the artificial intelligence can see what Yi Bai sees and hears what Yi Bai hears. Yi Bai gave it a system permission to access its own divine fire, listen to the prayers of believers, and reply to believers. After several hours, the artificial intelligence program learned through the network connected to other worlds, and the level of intelligence became higher and higher. Yibai felt that giving it some more time, more than Ultron Thodo. Even, this artificial intelligence program imitates humans and designs a 3D image for itself, a beautiful girl with blonde hair and very fashionable and cool clothes. Her image is displayed in front of Yibai's eyes through the portable Windows system interface of the Sage Ring. Master, I am your intelligent assistant. I named myself Eve. What do you think of this name? It is not difficult to analyze from its words. This artificial intelligence has become refined, and in just a few hours, it has no less than human intelligence. Look, she designed her own image and named herself, which shows the general. This name is good, you will call it this in the future. The concept of believing in God, and what I want you to do, has been transmitted to you. You know what you are going to do, right? Yibai asked her. Yes, Eve knew that Eve would be the Master's heavenly hotline operator, answering the prayers of believers. Good, now for the first test, you can pick a random believer as a target. Okay. Europe, country Y region, a collar county called Horner. A few months ago, a missionary came here, his name was Camel. That's right, he is a missionary doll of Yibai. Priest Carmel has the power to cure diseases, and the plague is happening in the area, and his arrival is a ray of hope for the county. After it cured several cases of plague, the local Night Lord learned that he had personally received him and, at his request, built a temple for him in his domain, the Temple of the God of Magic. In Horner County, gradually everyone knew about Carmel, the spokesperson of the gods who could cure the plague. The news gradually spread, and many sick people around the generation rushed to Horner County to seek treatment from the Carmel priests. The Carmel priests treated everyone equally, and during this time preached the teachings of the God of Magic, Yi, while giving them the concept of science and magic. In Europe at this time, the movement of burning witches and witches was not yet popular, and Carmel's missionary movement was very smooth. Today, a man came to the temple of the God of Magic. The man is a knight under the Lord of Horner County. He is a very curious person. There are always many novel ideas in his mind that ordinary people do not think about, and there are many ideas for people, and there will be many problems. The knight man had many questions that he had never understood and wanted to know the answers. Today, with the idea that the gods are omniscient and omnipotent, and perhaps know the answer, he came to the Leaf Magic Temple in the county to ask the priest Carmel, a disciple of the gods, to tell him these questions. After hearing this, the priest told him, "Go and ask the God of Yi, he knows everything and will definitely answer your questions." With doubts, the man came to the statue of the God of Yi, prayed, and told the God of Leaf all kinds of thoughts and questions in his heart. Episode 112. Men's questions were rarely thought about by the ancients, because those questions were taken for granted, and no one could answer why they were taken for granted. But for modern people, any schoolboy can answer. The questions are probably some: why there are days and nights, what is on the moon, how far is it from the ground, why is the moon cloudy and round? In the medieval environment, this male knight would actually think about these questions that people take for granted but did not know why, which made Yibai, who listened to his prayers, feel that this man was very promising, and if he wanted to change the era, he might be able to become a great scientist. The man had just finished asking these questions in his heart, and Ben did not expect the gods to answer him. After all, he had never heard of any god that would really respond to believers. Who knows if it really got an answer? Ms. Eve, the operator of the heavenly hotline, her nice voice sounded in the man's mind, and began to answer the other party's questions one by one. However, because Eve was inexperienced, the man could not understand a word of her answer. It is not a matter of language barriers, but questions such as, Earth, do not understand the meaning of these words, and Eve is useless to speak in detail. Of course, the most shocking thing about the man at this time was that the God Lord responded to him, and why was the voice of the God Lord a female voice? Obviously, God looks like a man? Miss Eve gradually realized her own way of answering, facing the problem of uncivilized ancient illiteracy, so she gave the other party another answer by passing the picture, accompanied by the demonstration. After reading and listening, the man only felt that a new world door was open to him, and he felt that he had learned the knowledge of the gods and was very excited. He began to think more, and more questions were born out of more thinking. Miss Eve continued to answer for him. The man was satisfied, and finally did not hold back and asked in his heart, Lord God, are you a woman? Eve replied, I am a servant of the God of Leaves, you can call me Lady Eve. The man suddenly realized, he said. At the same time, his belief in the God of Leaf became more devout, and even the servant Lady Eve was so knowledgeable, believing that the God of Leaf must be an omnipotent Lord, an all-knowing and all-powerful God. In the Tianshan Spirit Vulture Palace, Yibai was very satisfied with Eve's first test results. Next, try multi-threading. Yibai ordered. Okay. This time, Eve listened to the prayers of all the Yibai believers around the world at the same time and answered them at the same time. People can't multitask, and once they do that, they will always lose one over the other. Artificial intelligence does not have such a limit. Enough, its thinking can be divided into infinite parts, without interfering with each other. With previous experience, Eve was more comfortable coping with believers. All believers who have questions to answer can do so. Some who seek peace, then pour chicken soup for the soul. As for those who sought strength, profit, and money, Eve fooled them in all ways. Want power? Okay, give you a big road goods cheat book to take to cultivate. If you have a good talent, you may be able to become a strong man, 1 to fight 10, no more. Want rights? No problem, all kinds of power schemes world masterpieces can be picked at will, as long as you can integrate them, it is still no problem to mix up a name in this ancient world. Want money? It's no problem, do you know how steel is made? Master this technology, and you will not be short of money. If someone encounters danger and prays to the god of Yi for protection in a life and death crisis, Eve will, after seeking Yi Bai's consent, choose the most suitable one from Yi Bai's many abilities according to the crisis encountered by that person, and temporarily share it with the other party to solve the crisis. Yi Bai, who has been observing Eve's prayers to the believers, is becoming more and more satisfied. So far, there have been no problems. Eve has handled it very well, and gradually accumulated more experience in the process of processing, and the more convenient it is to deal with it in the future. As believers received responses, Yi Bai found that believers had a stronger power of their beliefs, both in quality and quantity, and greatly improved. If previously, the faith that each person could provide per day was 1, then the believer who made sure that his faith could be given back and was helped rose to 2 or even 3. It also proves that a deity that actually responds to the prayers of believers is more popular than the imaginary god. At the current rate, within 2 months, the power of his faith would be able to accumulate to the point of condensing the Godhead. In the divine fire stage, Yi Bai's strength has not improved, what was before is still what it is now. The difference is only in being able to listen to believers' prayers and sharing their abilities with believers. If you have to find something different, does casting a spell consume less mana? Only when you reach the Godhead stage will you truly possess the power of the gods. If you rewrite the rules of reality and achieve an effect similar to prayer, especially within the scope of your own priesthood, the consumption of divine magic is small and powerful. For example, Yi Bai, the god of magic, has reached the Godhead stage, and the magic below the legendary level can be almost instantaneous. Legendary level magic, you can also ignore the consumption of some of the divine power instantaneously. Magic that surpasses legendary magic will also be easy to use. Yi Bai walked out of the stone room refreshed. Outside the door, Terumi and Kagaya were here, and they knew that Yi Bai ignited the divine fire and became a god, so since he entered here, they have been waiting here with peace of mind. Seeing him come out, the two stepped forward. Husband, there were no accidents in the ceremony, right? Kagaya said with concern. Seeing me standing here with all my tail at the moment, I know it must be fine. Yi Bai smiled, and beckoned the two and said, go out together. Since Wu Xingyun was cured by Yi Bai for the injuries of the meridians in her body, she began to deliberately let go of the suppression of her age and 8 wilderness and 6 harmony solipsistic skills, and began to grow up rapidly beyond the growth rate of normal people. By now, she has grown into a beautiful girl of 17 or 18 years old. She likes her current age very much, so she uses 8 wilderness and 6 harmony solipsism to maintain her appearance, and her appearance will not change until death in the future, except for rejuvenation once every 30 years. These days, she is also practicing the upper dantian pre-cultivation method that Yi Bai told her, that is, chakra practice, and gradually attaches a trace of chakra characteristics to her internal strength, and her strength has improved a lot. She found that many martial arts moves, using this new internal force to release, the power will be doubled. With a very few martial arts moves, the power will increase more. Like her Tianshan 6 Yang palm, the roaring flame spread out from her hands when she was cast, covering a radius of 10 meters around her body. Another example is the life and death talisman, which can condense a large number of ice blocks in the hand, or condense various ice weapons, such as ice blades, ice swords, ice spears, and ice dark weapons, which simply subvert the characteristics of life and death talismans. Today, she felt that her preconditions were full, and she went to Yi Bai and the others with joy. It turned out that Yi Bai and they were not in. Episode 113, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon of the same day, the peak of the Spirit Vulture Palace Mountain. Yi Bai and the two women sat on a stone bench at a stone table, enjoying the scenery while drinking afternoon tea and eating small desserts and chatting about the sky. The beautiful girl's version of Wu Xingyun came over at this time and saluted the three. I have seen Sure Uncle and Sure Uncle Madam. Yi Bai motioned for her to sit down as well, and asked her, Ayun, is there something wrong? Wu Xingyun said, Uncle Sure, the practice you taught me has been completed, can you teach me the method of ascending the Dantian? Upper Dantian was originally Yi Bai's playful fooling of people. Dramatically, he himself really opened the upper dantian, and also found that the upper dantian had many wonderful uses. Yi Bai walked the divine path, and the upper dantian was the place where the divine fire godhead was accommodated. If a martial arts practitioner goes to practice the upper dantian, he may be able to step into a martial path similar to the high martial world. He speculated that after opening the upper dantian, he needed to use the internal strength of the lower dantian and the true chi of the middle dantian to guide the two into the upper dantian and nourish their own divine souls. Perhaps, the divine soul is nourished to the limit, and if it is compressed again, it can become a martial arts golden pill. Yi Bai suddenly found that he had inadvertently created a magical inner strength heart method. Since Wu Xingyun asked, Yi Bai began to talk about the theory of the upper dantian and the upper dantian opening method with the least side effects. Wu Xingyun listened intoxicated, and memorized it, sat down cross-kneeled on the spot, and began to cultivate. The upper dantian is the position of the human brain, the meridians are fragile, there is no specific way to open the order with the meridians, and the internal force is rashly used to open the upper dantian meridians, the consequences are unimaginable. The meridians of the upper dantian, let alone there are hundreds, I don't know the order to try it, luck becomes an idiot, bad luck directly brain death. Of course, it is not ruled out that someone can do this if the blind cat meets the real lucky one who is dead, but the chances are really not high. The reason why Yi Bai knew was to use the divine Tao to open the upper dantian first, and then observe the naturally smooth upper dantian meridians, and then deduce the correct order. Therefore, people who are not in the martial arts world can't think of opening a dantian in the head, but those who do this either go crazy or hang up directly, and gradually this becomes taboo, and no one will study it anymore. Now, with the guidance of Yi Bai, who came over, plus the meridians in the head were very fragile and easy to be opened, Wu Xingyun only took less than half an hour to successfully open the upper dantian. After she opened up this dantian, her soul, spirit, and self automatically converged to form a mist-like energy state. The three are soft and unique, allowing Wu Xingyun to give birth to divine consciousness. The gathering of wills can be separated from the body for 300 meters, and everything within the range is completely visible. Feeling such a magical experience for the first time, Wu Xingyun said to himself, "This is the upper dantian, it is really magical." She looked at Yi Bai, "Sure uncle" again, her eyes bright, "Sure uncle, you actually created such an esoteric technique. Ayun, concentrate your mind and nourish your upper dantian divine soul, with true chi and internal power." Yi Bai reminded. Wu Xingyun converged his mind and began to carry internal power and true chi, and the two merged into a stream of life energy, which flowed into the upper dantian along the meridian path, and began to nourish the divine soul in it. As soon as the divine soul was nourished, Wu Xingyun felt that the spirit was in heaven, this was the pleasure that came from the soul. The nourished divine soul began to gradually solidify and expand, and the thinking speed and memory of the cloud were synchronized to strengthen its divine soul condensation and increase the quality of the soul. This power, called divine consciousness, flows back into the body, moisturizing body cells and prolonging cell life. It wasn't until she emptied the internal strength and true chi in her body that she reluctantly stopped cultivating. According to the recovery speed of Wu Xingyun's internal strength and true chi, it will take at least half a day to return to full. That is to say, her practice in the dantian can only be twice a day, that is, 2 great zhou tian. When she was cultivating, Yi Bai, Hades, and Kagaya observed her in their own ways, feeling the magical changes in her body and spirit, and the three of them were more or less inspired to varying degrees. For example, Yi Bai's idea is, if the power of the divine soul of the dantian on Wuxinjian reaches the extreme value, can it be compressed into the Yuan God golden pill and step into the realm of cultivating the true golden pill? The idea is, can his chakra system open the upper dantian? What happens when turned on? Kagaya was much simpler and more rude, she manipulated the chakra in her body, and according to the method Yi Bai told Wu Xingyun before, she directly opened the upper dantian and began to feel the difference from her previous body. "Uncle Master, my future path of cultivation is to strengthen my divine soul all the time, right?" Wu Xingyun is very smart, a supreme martial arts genius, she can think of this, Yi Bai is not strange at all. Not bad, when your divine soul power reaches the limit, you can try to condense the Yuan God golden pill. This is just my envisioned stage, and if this happens, perhaps people's life expectancy will be greatly extended, and it will not be a problem to live for hundreds or even thousands of years. Yuanshan Jindan nurtures the divine soul, and may eventually turn into an embryo, break the pill into a baby, become a land immortal, and live longer. Yi Bai voiced his guess. Wu Xingyun was excited, who didn't want to live longer? Since Wu Yazi's death, she has not pursued much, but now she has a new goal in life, that is, to live longer, become stronger, and witness more. She didn't know that Wu Yazi was not dead, but Wu Yazi's half-dead appearance was similar to death. Anyway, Yi Bai will not take the initiative to tell her about this, so let Wu Yazi continue his tragic life. Time passed day by day, and before they knew it, 3 months had passed since they came to the Jinyong martial arts world. Today, in the territory of our next door, the 8-foot crow, who had been preaching for 3 months in it, finally regained its full strength. Before leaving, they came over with Yi Bai to say goodbye. Yi Bai used the reading strip teleportation ability to help the two of them return to their original world. His task was prompted to complete at this moment. You completed the mission, Lack of Faith Gods. The level of the magic cabin has been increased to LV5. It's not easy, finally reached the pocket space level of 1v5, and you can start your own series of tumultuous operations. Yi Bai returned to the pocket space alone and used the pocket space privilege to directly let Agnes, the daughter of the castle area where time stood still, obtain the permission of the space heavenly path. Under this permission, Agnes independently created a timeline, awakened from the time-free state, and looked around in confusion. She was surprised to find that her mother, Wanda, godmother Natasha, and Aunt Emma were all standing still, not understanding what was happening. Until Yi Bai's voice sounded in her ears, telling her the coordinates of a pocket space. Agnes teleported and saw a forest here, as well as the villa in the middle of the forest, and Papa in the courtyard of the villa. The little girl threw herself into her father's arms and said, "Dad, Mom, Godmother, and aunts are all stationary. Don't worry, it's just temporary. Shall I do your father a favor?" "Okay, what's the busy?" Agnes nodded her head. "Dad gave you a picture of the environment in the ring, and you conjured it out of the pocket space," Yi Bai said. As early as after he learned that pocket space LV5 could change the environment with the privileges of Heaven's Tao, he took time to edit the world model he envisioned in the system 3D modeling software of the Sage Ring. The model is roughly divided into 3 regions. The first area is the mortal world. The area is about half the Earth, and the function is to store mortals. The second area, the immortal realm, is also about equal to half the Earth. If the power of mortal life exceeds a certain limit, it can fly here. The third area is the private area of Yi Bai's family. Except for his own family, people from the mortal and immortal realms cannot reach this place. At the same time, the third area is also the smallest place. Of course, small is also relative, and its area is at least half an hour. Episode 114. Agnes blinked as Yi Bai's daughter and pocket dimension elf. She instinctively knew what she could do in this space after her pocket space was upgraded to 1v5. Through the carry-on system of the philosopher's ring on her finger, she brings up the model of the world that her father passed down to her. The IQ is as evil as her, and she immediately understood what her father meant, and immediately patted the undeveloped chest and said, "Wrap it on us." And then, the world of pocket space has changed, and it has been turned upside down in an instant. Mountains, rivers, and trees emerge one by one, forming different environments everywhere, and plant species include a variety of plants, as well as regional climatic and geographical environments, and plants will appear in places suitable for growing them. The pocket space was divided into 3 parts, turning into the 3 parts of the mortal world, the immortal realm and the private area that Yi Bai expected. However, the terrain of the mortal world are there, and the place in the immortal world is still bare. Yi Bai planned to wait for everyone to wake up from the time-free state and discuss the environmental design of the place with them. As for the private territory of his family, the local environment remains the same. Coming to the private area, Yi Bai thought for a while and said to Agnes, "In a separate area here, move the mortal villa and the surrounding forest into it." Agnes did so. The private area now becomes 2. The main thing is that Yi Bai has not yet figured out how to introduce Kaguya and Hades to Wanda and the others. For them, they just brought Nat back on their front feet, and brought back the 2 of them in the next second. I am afraid that not everyone has to have an opinion. Or first separate the area, return and let the 2 sides meet each other after a while. At this time, countless points of light appeared around Yi Bai, gathering into Agnes. At this time, Agnes is in the heavenly doubt state of pocket space, and she condenses around Yi Bai, which can be regarded as an incarnation. "Agnes, how do you feel after becoming heavenly Tao?" Yi Bai was more curious about this. Agnes pointed her finger under her mouth, tilted her head and thought for a while. "Omniscient and all-powerful, Dad, I found that there is something wrong in our world, and I need a while to fix it." "What kind of question?" "If you compare the world to a system, then this system has loopholes. Your independent mortal world can be entered by unauthorized outsiders at the spatial level, but where there is spatial ability, and you are near the other party, they have the chance to sense and enter it." Yi Bai was taken aback, and hurriedly asked, "Is this the case only in the mortal world? The private area of the immortal realm and the top floor will not be straight into, right? Because of your open-door policy, there are many similar loopholes. The immortal realm can only be entered by people who have been approved by me or invited by our family. Our private area, within it stand isolated, only VIP residents who are registered with you, Dad, can enter." Agnes said what she knew. Yi Bai nodded. "Go to the mortal world, let's play single player by ourselves." "Okay." Agnes Lori disappeared and repaired. Leaving the pocket space, Yi Bai re-entered the Tianshan Spirit Vulture Palace. At this time, Hades and Kaguya are not here. accompany the land of the Central Plains to experience the scenery of the martial arts world. Wu Xingyun was cultivating the upper Dantian in retreat, cultivating 2 great weeks every day rain or shine, in order to become an immortal as soon as possible. Yi Bai had no one around him, so he simply found a quiet place where no one disturbed him, and began to feel the massive divine power gathered in the divine fire. This is the power of faith transformed by divine fire, which can prolong life, stop aging, and increase one's physical fitness to a certain extent. The current amount of divine power is not far from the minimum standard for condensing divine personality, which is just a matter of the past few days. The method of condensing the Godhead is more troublesome, and the condensation stage will have a period of weakness ranging from several days to months, during which many abilities cannot be used, and it is not impossible to use, but once the use of the Godhead, the condensation process will be forcibly interrupted, and can only be started again. Yi Bai estimated that at that time, I am afraid that only the few abilities given by the system and the Sage Ring can be used, and the rest of the abilities will converge into the divine fire, join the condensation of the Godhead, and let their various abilities fuse uniquely. But this is enough, good luck, maybe a day or 2 can condense the Godhead, bad luck, it is only a few months. As for your own security during the period of weakness? With a position A, don't worry at all. Time passed a few more days. Kagaya and Jiaomei will come back in the past few days, basically in the Central Plains, and even broke out the name of a chivalrous woman, and when they heard about this at first, Yi Bai was embarrassed for a long time. Today, the 2 of them had breakfast and went out as usual, saying that it was Xingzil inside holding a gang meeting, and the 2 were going to make fun. This is a plot event. However, Yi Bai does not care about the plot of Dragon Babu. He will retreat today to begin to condense the Godhead, which will take at least 3 days to start the gestation stage of the Godhead, and then enter the formation stage of the weak period. The 2 women knew that he was going to retreat for 3 days, and it was a retreat in the pocket space, where there was no danger, so the 2 women decided not to go home for 3 days and play outside for 3 days. Until 3 days later, Yi Bai was released. He has not turned on the up position as the norm for a long time, and he has started to drive this thing again. Only then will he feel secure. The 2 women had not yet returned, but Yi Bai began to prepare to leave. He needs to know whether he can still receive the faith of the human beings in this world once he leaves this world. He casually found a universe with other worldviews to traverse, and this new world did not have the plot he was familiar with, and he did not pay attention to the earth of this new world, but felt the faith on the side of the dragon world in this world. Perhaps his reading teleportation is 11-dimensional, which allows many of his abilities to be used across worldviews, including the absorption of beliefs. Yes, in this new world, he can also receive the power of faith of believers in the dragon world, and there is no delay. Sister Eve continues to help him act as a heavenly hotline operator, answering the prayers of believers. Yi Bai's situation can also be regarded as the first belief in God, not only has a heavenly hotline, but also can receive faith across the worldview. This means that he has more space to operate, and in the future, he only needs to find the right world, make missionary dolls and throw them directly, and he can collect his faith at home with peace of mind, without having to go to the trouble of running over in person. When these believers die, he can also pull their souls across the world to his pocket fairy realm to be reborn. Just as the Bible says that good people go to heaven and become angels after death. Yi Bai can completely use the puppet alchemy technique to provide a new body for the souls of these people who believe in themselves after death, so that they can continue to provide faith for themselves. Returning to the dragon world, Yi Bai is ready to leave and return to the Hokage world and continue his mission of staying in the Hokage world for a year. Although the task itself has no rewards, the task has always been placed in the taskbar, and he always feels uncomfortable with a bit of obsessive-compulsive disorder. Episode 115. The Apricot Forest incident has ended, and the Chao gang leader has become the target of everyone's breakaway from the gang. In the Tibetan scripture pavilion of the Shaolin Temple, the 2 members of Yi Bai's family were playing the autumn breeze here at this time. The 2 have seen many battles between martial arts masters these days, and although the martial arts exercises supplemented by internal force do not seem to be strong, it is different to replace the internal force with chakra to use the same move. Therefore, these days, both of them are fighting autumn breezes all over the world, collecting a large number of martial arts secrets and inner strength heart methods. Some are copied directly through the Sharingan, and some are directly obtained from the cheats. Not surprisingly, they found the legendary Nine Yang Shingong in a scripture called the Linga Sutra. They had just left Shaolin when Yi Bai appeared in front of the 2 and said to them, "Have you had enough? It's time to leave when you've had enough. I'm leaving." Terumi looked a little stunned. "Will Wu Xingyun come with us?" Kagaya asked. "Nope." Yi Bai shook her head. In the end, she still didn't plan to take the other party. She and the other party were not so familiar. Moreover, he is not ready to migrate in this world, so let's talk about it later. The 3 returned to the Spirit Vulture Palace and said goodbye to Wu Xingyun. Knowing that they were leaving, Wu Xingyun asked, "Will you come back?" "It is possible to come back, it may not be. Recently a new immortal legend has risen in the Central Plains, and I want to find me and pray to him in my heart." Yi Bai didn't wait for Wu Xingyun to say anything, and slowly disappeared with Kagaya and Zhao Mei, leaving Wu Xingyun in a daze when he saw the supernatural scene. Hokage World. Due to the sudden disappearance of Asuka, the teacher of the 7th class, Asuka, Narutoko, Nejuko, and Sakura changed the team teacher again. The third generation was a little helpless, feeling that the 7th class of this graduation seemed to be cursed. Initially, he planned to arrange for Kakashi to be the teacher of this team. Kakashi is a disciple of the 4th generation of the family, and has a Sharingan, and is definitely the perfect leader of the 7th class to lead the team shinobi. As a result, Kakashi was killed. After that, the short man was raised up and chose Asuka, the sister of the head of the Nara family, who had always regarded herself as a witch, but just after 2 months, the person disappeared. Now that it is almost time for the Chunin exam, the speechless Sandame simply asked for the Yamato who would be Mudu from Danzo and let him be the leader of the 7th class, which is also a choice in desperation. Tomorrow is the day when Konoha and the Shinobi village hold the Chunin exam. In the spirit of being bored and looking for something to do, Kagaya Atsuki and Terumi became 12-year-old children, and the illusion controlled a high-level personnel of a small ninja village, and came to Konoha to participate in the middle ninja exam as a small ninja village shinobu. In order to make the team more formal, a teacher was also made out of wooden avatars to form a classic combination of 1+3. They came to Konoha village and paid for the most exclusive in here. Tomorrow, the exams won't start, and today, the 3 of them who have become 12-year-olds have begun to wander around Konoha village. The first stop, the legendary Ichiraka ramen shop. Yi Bai has long wanted to taste the taste of Ichiraka ramen. After all, this place is a classic. Crossing the Hokage without eating a bowl of Ichiraka ramen, what is the difference between that and a salted fish? At the beginning, he replaced Kakashi's identity, stayed at home all day to engage in ninjutsu research and development and illusion knowledge learning. There was no time. Now that everything he should have learned is finished, he can do what he wants. Entering the Ichiraka ramen restaurant, perhaps because 9 a.m. is not a meal, there are not many diners here. The 3 of them ordered a bowl of ramen and found a place to sit down and eat. How to say the taste? I can only say that it is not bad. Yi Bai thought it was better than Lansao ramen, but that's it. At this time, Yi Bai noticed Kagaya staring thoughtfully at the owner of Ichiraku's ramen shop, and asked her, "What's wrong?" Kagaya said, "That ramen shop owner, the soul in my body makes me feel a little familiar." Ugh. Yi Bai looked at it and looked carefully, but unfortunately, except for the stance, the reading strip teleportation, and the magic cabin, his other abilities were in a state where he could not be easily used, and he didn't see anything at all. He thought of some spoofed analysis of Ichiraka ramen by netizens in his previous life, saying that the surname of Ichiraka ramen was called Atsuki. There is such a post with the title Uncle Ichiraku's true identity exposed. Pain is a defeated subordinate, netizens, this is the big boss. One of the analyses, hand-hid Uncle Na appeared from the first episode and lived until the strong vitality of the finale. Analysis 2, remember when the Oni and Weasel came to Konoha? Itachi easily killed the ninja who was guarding the door, but as soon as he passed the ramen restaurant, Uncle Ichiraku's expression completely lit up. He felt that he had noticed something, and suddenly turned his face sideways, thoughtful. For any person, knowing that there is an S-class rebel beside him, he will hide in fear, but Ichiraku has a disdainful look, then it means that Ichiraku is not afraid. Analysis 3, when Pain attacked Konoha, a 6-way Pain doppelganger passed by the Ichiraka ramen shop and attacked the surroundings, and the people beat the boss calmly, as if Pain couldn't help him. In the end, Shinra Tensei, who destroyed most of Konoha, did not destroy the Ichiraka ramen shop. Analysis 4, why did everyone avoid him like a femme fatale when Naruto was a child? So he beat his uncle to care for him and allowed him to eat noodles on credit. This is the treatment of a biological son. To sum up, in fact, the uncle who fights by hand is the first boss hidden in the ninja world, and the identity is most likely the chakra body left by the 6 immortals in the world, usually has nothing to do to stay in the body of the hand-beating uncle, and closely care for his 2 sons Azura and Indra Chakra Naruto and Sasuke, and from time to time pour chicken soup on the 2, and if necessary, appear as a grandfather to open the hang-up for the 2. Originally, Yi Bai thought that it was a joke from netizens, but seeing Kagaya's reaction when he saw the other party, I was afraid that Hando was really possessed by the 6 Tao immortal chakra. Chakra carries his own spiritual will. Once he learns to escape the yin and yang, he can let chakra survive out of the body, such as the 6 immortals, such as he keeps chakra reincarnating 2 children. Even Kagaya also drummed up a black absolute with part of his own will. And Kagaya's divine tree chakra was even more awesome, and was directly dismantled into 9-tailed beasts by the 6 immortals. Ahem, the topic is far away. That may be the chakra will of the son born to the puppet stand-in who replaced your destiny, the 6 Tao immortal Atsuki Yu. Yi Bai whispered. Kagaya and Terumi have both seen the small movie that Yibai made that has Kagaya as the protagonist, and naturally know what Kagaya's original trajectory experience is, and now it is rumored that there may be 6 immortal boarding in the body of the Ichiraka ramen shop, and they are a little stunned. The two fought against each other and looked at each other so carefully, and really found some clues. There are 2 more changes in the afternoon, about to return to the United States, ask for flowers, monthly passes. Episode 116. The 3 of them looked at each other very secretly, and they were not discovered by the stuff in the body of the uncle who hit the hand. In his body, there is indeed the power of Yin and the power of Yang, and it is also in the same vein as Kagaya, and his identity can basically be determined. However, Kagaya didn't really dare to be interested in it. It wasn't his real son, just a son born with everyone's blessing instead of her original fate, but with similar blood, that's all. Yibai was also not interested in the old man of the 6 Dao, to the point of Zhao Mei. As a native of this world, he had heard of the legend of the 6 Dao immortals. According to legend, the name of the 6 immortals is not mentioned, but he was the first to unravel the true meaning of chakra, with the goal of maintaining peace and order, founding the ninja sect, teaching the knowledge of ninjutsu to ordinary people, which is the existence of the ninja profession. He also holds the legendary Eye of Reincarnation, but what effect the Eye of Reincarnation has, there are many rumors, and it is difficult to tell which is true. Of course, Terumi, who was opened, has reincarnation eyes, and she knows it. Now that she sees the essence of the legend, she wants to talk to the other party. Yibai and Kagaya did not object. At this time, the Ichiraka ramen shop was fighting with the boss as a customer, and there was no one else. Even the daughter of the hand-beating daughter, Calamus Beauty, was not here at this time, and generally Calamus would come over to help her father when there were many people at mealtime. Terumi walked to the hand and sat down, and said bluntly, "I want to talk to the one in your body." The hand was stunned, and he didn't quite understand what the little girl on the other side meant. Obviously he didn't know that there was a grandfather with him in his body. The old grandfather with him in his body found himself detected, a little confused, and not hiding. I saw that the hand hit the temperament mutation, and the ordinary eyes gradually became circle eyes. He looked at the 12-year-old girl on the other side, and quickly noticed that this was not the original appearance of the other party, but the use of a very clever Yang escape transformation technique. This level of transformation, ordinary people really can't find it. Are you? The 6 old men looked confused. The old man's cultivation is really good, it can be called great love, in the face of this kind of guy who seems to have great ability. When the other party does not show hostility, he can also communicate with the other party calmly, instead of being obviously vigilant in the face of things he does not understand. Judging from his past behavior, he has also maintained his ideals and has never wavered. Knowing that his mother used the divine tree to make humans into a white army, he and his brother sealed their mother in anger, and then began to travel around the world to find a way to make the world peaceful, and finally came to a chakra that can connect people's hearts, achieve mutual understanding, and reduce disputes, so he founded the ninja sect. When the ninja sect was still there were really not so many wars, until the old man of the 6 paths hung up, and his 2 unlucky sons started the fight between the ninjas at the instigation of someone with a heart. The old man of the 6 paths is worried, dead and blind. Chakra is still adrift in the world, silently guarding the ninja world. Ahem, pulled away. Faced with the question of the 6 old men, Zhao said very viciously, "I am a friend of my mother Kagaya. I heard that you and your brother teamed up to seal her." When the old man heard this, he was shocked, and he rose up, faintly revealing the aura of a strong man. "You are a clan member of the mother's outer world?" "That's not it, but..." As Terumi spoke, her eyes gradually changed from blue to scarlet, 3 black jade appeared and rotated, and gradually unfolded in a line, forming an eternal kaleidoscope writing wheel eye, and then, the eyes faded scarlet, the eyes disappeared, the eyes turned golden as a whole, and many black circles appeared. She asked the other party, "Do you see something?" The old man frowned and perceived, gradually perceiving the clue, that was the power of Kagaya Yin and the power of Kagaya Yang, mother's power. Saying this, the old man was shocked. "You are also a mother's child?" "Do I still have a sister, Terumi?" Yibai. The onlooker who ate the noodles, couldn't stand it. He pulled Kagaya to this side and said to the old man, "Look at us, what can you find?" The old man looked at the 2. Yibai had a protective shield on the surface of his body that he couldn't see without looking closely, and Lu Dao didn't see anything. However, Kagaya next to him glanced at it a few times, and this time he was directly stunned. Mother? How did you?" He wanted to ask you how you ran out of the seal, but he was afraid that asking this question would irritate the other party, and he was stunned. The younger brother has now ascended to heaven, and the old man of the 6 paths has no body to rely on, and the chakra he has left in the ninja world alone can no longer close the mother of Kagaya Atsuki in the small black room. Kagaya's eyes are sharp and her aura is powerful, because she knows the future trajectory in advance from Yibai, and she knows that the 2 unlucky children of Yui and Mura will seal herself, and she has changed her fear of having children. In the face of the culprit, she was not going to bother. Don't shout, I'm not your mother. Her tone was cold, without the slightest temperature, and it seemed that her voice had lowered the temperature around her. 10 minutes later, Yi Bai and his group left the Ichiraka ramen shop, leaving the old man there alone to ponder the ultimate philosophical question. Who am I? Where am I? Where am I going? When this happened, the three of them lost interest in continuing to participate in the Zonin exam. The key is to meet an acquaintance. This has to pretend to be young to participate in the Zonin exam. Was the old man learned that it was not a joke? After playing all day in Konoha, the three left Konoha village through time-space ninjutsu. Time passed imperceptibly, gradually, and came to this world for just 1 year. It is worth mentioning that someone's godhead condensation is completed. As the godhead of the god of magic, general magic can be released almost without consumption, and at the same time it can use some god-exclusive abilities. Every word and deed into rules say that there is light, there will really be light. A bit similar to the ability of Scarlet Witch Wanda to rewrite reality. Of course, it's not that powerful. Take the sentence Yi Bai said at the Zombie Universe Mutant School that there will be no more zombies in the Xavier Youth Talent School. If Yi Bai uses the power of the Godhead to launch this move, it will consume the divine power transformed by the power of faith in the Godhead. Assuming that the divine power he has collected in the past few months is 100, then to perform the above move, it will take at least 5 divine power points. The advantage is that there are no drawbacks of chaos magic, and there will be no Sithorn's whispers after using it. Now, the task without reward was prompted by the system to complete. Yi Bai was ready to leave, and probably would not come back in the future. Pocket Private Space Villa Area. This is Yi Bai's name here, specifically refers to the place where Kagaya and Terumi live, which is isolated separately, and only Terumi and Kagaya can come and accept him. At the same time, Kagaya and Terumi can only enter this area so far, and other areas are temporarily closed to the two, intending to wait for a while. And Wanda, they can't sense and enter this area, and they won't even notice its presence. In addition to this area, other areas are temporarily named Pocket Mortal, Pocket Immortal, and Pocket Castle District. There is nothing difficult to understand about the first two, and the third is where Wanda and Natasha usually live. Episode 117. In a trance, return to where you left inside the new Hellfire Club. Not far away, 3-year-old Veronica and 9-year-old Shockwave Girl are playing. But Veronica is not pleasant. She is tens of thousands of years old, these things specially for children to play, she really can't be interested. It's a lot of fun for the Shockwave Girl. After playing for a while, Veronica really couldn't bear it, walked back to Yi Bai, and complained, Yi, I'm not playing. Yi Bai. Okay, take you upstairs. Yi Bai got up and took her hand. The Shockwave woman ran to her and asked, can I go together? Above is a private area, children, play by yourself. Yi Bai touched her head, ignored her dissatisfaction, and pulled Agnes towards the elevator. On the top floor, Nat Jean learned the truth from Natasha at this time and was in a state of stunned. Natasha is actually her in a parallel world, which subverts her worldview. No wonder the other party will be interested in him and take the initiative to make friends with him. She was shocked for a while before recovering. At this time, Yi Bai led Veronica Lori in, and 2 smooth people could be seen lying there, receiving a massage from the puppet maid. He greeted the 2 Natashas, seeing you 2 together, inexplicable subtlety. Veronica greeted the 2, good evening, Natasha. And you? Call me Nat. Nat said. She asked Yi Bai's side, Xiao Budian, little friend, who are you? My full name is Veronica Lilith Guvia Knoll. She read for a minute before finishing her name. Nat is full of black lines, such an anti-human name is really taken. In fact, don't say Nat. Yi Bai, who already knew Veronica's name very long, felt pain when he heard it again. NT, do you want to join the gang? Asked Yi Bai as he sat down next to her, admiring his Mano figure. Join you? Yes. I don't think I'll turn down a place where you can shelter me, especially if they have no ill towards me. Yi Bai invited Nat to become a Pocket Dimension resident and gave her a privilege ring. Nat, who wore this ring, just swooped and teleported to the living room of the Pocket Castle area. Fortunately, there is no one in that place now, and she can't avoid embarrassment in the past. Sure enough, she left a few seconds and came back with a swoop, pretending to be a thing, putting on her clothes first, and then re-teleporting over. Poof. The embarrassment of seeing your own isotope. Natasha couldn't hold back a snort. Veronica Lori was also unsmiling. After a while, little Loli finally noticed Yi Bai's difference, and suddenly widened her eyes, looking like a ghost. You condensed the godhead into a god. How is this possible? Natasha is curious, she is now half a magic person, she has borrowed Veronica's magic book with Wanda, and knows the ritual of becoming a god. Has she completed the ritual? Yi Bai did not hide it, nodded and said, I made many dolls, and found some parallel worlds of the earth in ancient times, and threw the dolls over to let them help spread the faith. and I can receive the power of faith here without delay. He shook his finger at the sage ring and said with a smile, "Want to hear my believer's prayers to me? Okay." Natasha was curious if God would receive harassing phone calls when believers prayed to God. Veronica Little Lowly is not curious about this. Her father is a god. She has known this kind of thing for a long time, but it does not prevent her from listening to it. Emma, who was watching the TV news in the distance, heard the exchange here, walked over and sat on the side, and said, "I'll listen to it too." Yi-Bai projected the picture of a believer's prayer with the sound of prayer. "Oh, omniscient leaf god, you are a symbol of omniscience, a ray of hope, the source of magic, your brilliance envelopes the world." Hearing this, Yi-Bai covered his face. Not surprisingly, he was watched by several people with strange eyes. "Yi, are you serious?" Natasha complained. "This is not what I teach believers to say. God knows how they write the Bible." Then the believer asked a few questions, and a female voice answered him. Yi-Bai explained next to him, "If the prayers of believers are not blocked, it is like harassing phone calls, but if they are blocked, they will not know the demands of believers, so I had a whim and programmed an artificial intelligence program called Even the System of the Sage Ring, to give back all kinds of prayers on my behalf." Veronica was shocked. "You actually played such a mystical thing out of science." Yi-Bai patted Lori's shoulder, and the old god said, "How bold people are, how productive they are. You are also a person who has come into contact with science. You must let go of your mind and be conservative." Lowly showed dead fish eyes, although she wanted to refute it, but the other party's words were simply too tm and reasonable. At this time, Veronica's small pants pocket heard a mobile phone ringing. She took out her mobile phone and saw that it was her adoptive father Tony Stark calling. She connected the phone and said a few times to hang up the phone, and said to Yeber Natasha Emma, "It's Dad looking for me, I'm leaving. It's nice for you to call him Daddy." Yi-Bai's expression was strange. "For me, every journey is a new life, and I will devote myself to it, only then will I get more receivable." Veronica looked very serious when she said this. Yi-Bai was immediately impressed by her. "You can actually choose to use a stand-in figure like us, so as not to always say goodbye," Emma said to her. "Yes, puppets don't grow big at all. It's better to wait until I'm 0 years old and then put on a puppet vest." After Veronica finished speaking, she waved goodbye to the two and left the place. Downstairs at the club, Stark saw his girlfriend coming out of the club, beckoned her to get into the car, and Harpy, the bodyguard and driver, drove the two to Stark Manor on Long Island. "Little Vika, Tony's nickname for Veronica, having fun there?" Stark asked his adopted daughter. "Well, I'm very happy, and I was given a membership card." Veronica took out the card symbolizing the identity of the White Bishop of the Hellfire Club and showed Stark. Tony was immediately confused when he saw this card, and he thought that he had read it wrong, rubbed his eyes and looked at it again, and found that it was indeed not wrong. It was the identity card of Bishop White. As a frequent player in the club, he naturally knows what the highest level of status in the club symbolizes, not only where there are various free orders, but also get a large number of dividends every month. Stark is playing there, spending millions of dollars per knife every month. His own girlfriend is good. She not only does not have to spend a penny to play there, but also gets millions of dividends every month. This difference. What the hell did she do to let her get such an identity? Episode 118, Little Vika, how did you have this card? Tony Stark's her. It was given to me by the White Queen's sister. Veronica Lori had an innocent and cute expression, and blinked her big eyes cutely. White Queen, Black Queen, those are the two flowers in the Hellfire Club. Tony, who often goes there, naturally knows them, and even picks up, but the people are too cold, making him think that the gentlemanly pickup touched a nose of ash. "Do you know her well?" She said I was like her dead sister. Veronica Lori flickered people unambiguously, saying the same as the truth. Hearing that this was the reason, Stark felt that it was more reasonable, and finally, did not dwell on this issue. Pocket Villa area. Kagaya and Terumi looked at the coordinates of each world recorded on a certain device in the villa, and discussed which world to play in today. There are many world coordinates, namely, Marvel 199999, DC, Hokage, Jinyong Wuxia, Fantasy Township, Peace World. The coordinates of the Fantasy Township were written down by Yi-Bai when he sent the 8-foot crow and Asuka back, intending to see it when he had time in the future. The two chose to go, and finally chose Fantasy Town, and the two also knew Yachi Raven and Asuka, and planned to visit them there. In this way, the two teleported on their way through the privileged ring that Yi-Bai gave them. Pocket Castle area. Nat here, everything made her feel new, and she could even see many legendary things, and at the same time, she also met Yi-Bai's family here. Everyone basically knows that she is a homotope of Natasha's parallel world, and they are quite curious about her, and they gradually get acquainted with each other. On the evening of the same day, Yi-Bai spent the night here, and by the way, helped Nat also make a doll stand-in and gave her a sage ring. The next day, Yi-Bai and NT pressed the road in downtown New York. The main thing was that Nat wanted to hear the story of Yi-Bai's family, and Yibai volunteered to take her out for a walk while telling her it. In order to prevent a bald head from knowing what they are talking about at this moment through the timeline, and then knowing their origins, Yibai told it in a voice transmission. As a master of meticulous ways, Yibai would not make careless mistakes, and he did not want unrelated people to know his heels. Although, even if others know his heels, they can't help him, and they don't like that feeling. Walking all the way to Manhattan's Central Park, Yeri met acquaintances. It was a girl in her teens who was jogging in the morning. Her blonde hair was twisted and braided, she was wearing a sweatshirt, jeans, and sneakers, and she was full of youthful vitality during the run. She is Pepper Potts. Why is it in the park every time I meet her? Yibai noticed the other party, and the other party also noticed him. She stopped, recognized Yibai, stepped forward excitedly, stopped in front of Yibai and Nat, and said to Yibai, "Yi, you are still in this era, have you found the savior?" Nat turned his head in confusion and asked Bai, "This era? Savior? What is she talking about? I'll tell you later." Yibai said, and then smiled at Pepper and spoke, "That matter has been solved, but unfortunately there is no time machine in this era. I can be sent by a time machine, but I can't be sent back by a time machine." "Oh, yes." Little Pepper suddenly realized, she said, "It's a good acquaintance, we are also friends, right? Where do you live now? Leave a contact information." Yibai told her the address of his beach house on Long Island and his phone number here. His phone is built into the lamp ring system, and when others call him, the lamp ring will remind him, and he can communicate directly when he connects. "Who is this next to you?" "NT, my girlfriend." Pepper looked a little disappointed, but she quickly changed her smile again, shook hands with Nat, and got to know each other. She said, "I'm on vacation today, and if you don't have anything to do, let's do it together." Nat shrugged his shoulders to indicate that it was useless, and Yibai did not refuse, so the two-person team turned into a threesome and continued to press the road. "Virginia, I still don't know what you do." Yibai asked her. "You can call me Pepper, I work at Stark Industries." Pepper said something about her career. At this time, Pepper is not Tony Stark's secretary, but Stark's secretary's secretary, and is friends with Stark's bodyguard, Harpy Hogan. Harpy Hogan, full name Harold Joseph Harpy Hogan. Harpy is not a name, it is a familiar name for him. In the comics, Harpy is a boxer in Brooklyn, and Tony Stark was rescued by him in a racing accident, and then hired him as a driver and bodyguard. A certain plot of Iron Man 2 in the movie universe is adapted from this bridge. In the main universe of the comic, while working as Stark's bodyguard, Harpy met Little Pepper, who was falling into the stage of disappointment in life, and the two also developed a relationship. However, in the movie universe line, these two are just simple friends in private, and they are superior subordinate relationships at work. In Pepper's telling, Yibai knew that Pepper and Stark are not currently intimate, and they are not even very familiar. The reason why she can be Stark's secretary's secretary is only because Stark thinks she is beautiful and looks good. While the three of them chatted, they went to a nearby restaurant to start breakfast. The chatty Little Pepper said to the two mysteriously, "Have you paid attention to urban legends? It is rumored that there is an invisible building on Brick Street in Greenwich Village in the west side of New York, and if you count it in the order of building grades, you will find that there is one building missing, and when anyone goes to observe it, it feels quite normal. I think this is the most abnormal place. Isn't the building that Yibai Sheen is missing a New York sanctuary?" With the cover of magical means, the average person will take it for granted and ignore it, thinking that it was normal and not looking back afterwards. Nat was interested. "Well, I went with a friend some time ago, and we didn't find the building, but according to the distance between the buildings, plus the order of building numbers, there is indeed a missing section, which can be compared from the total distance of the building on the other side of the road, but where it is missing, I can't say," Pepper said. Nat, who was intrigued, "Then let's go over and take a look." Episode 119. Seeing Yibai's strange and natural expression, the two felt that he might know something. Nat asked him, "Don't you know there?" Yibai shrugged, "People there may know that we are outsiders. Nat, you should know what I am talking about." Nat came to the origin of Yibai alone. Compared to this world, Yibai, they are indeed outsiders. Little Pepper was full of question marks. "Yi, what do you mean?" "How I don't understand, you'll find out later." Yibai did not answer her question. This made Pepper, who likes to gossip, very resentful and feels that he is isolated by the two. After breakfast, the three took a taxi to Brick Street in Greenwich Village. As soon as he came here, Pepper began to tell the two about the abnormality of this place. If you see the row of buildings on the left, you can mentally calculate the total length of each building, and then mentally calculate the total length of the row of buildings on the right, and you can find the problem when you compare the two. I found out. Nat complained that yesterday she got a sage ring, and she can barely be regarded as a mysterious side person at present, and the shielding function of the New York sanctuary is only for ordinary people. Nat saw at first glance a very low two-story building relative to the surrounding architectural style. This building is built here. It is the kind of department in charge of urban planning that makes people suspect that the head of the department in charge of urban planning is collectively clamped by the door, and it is difficult to notice it. Pepper blinked. Is it so fast? What did you find? Nat answered her while asking Yibai's opinion. Do you want to go there and see? Since you're here, let's go and take a look. Yibai nodded, and smoothly shrouded the surface of his skin with a net stance. As for Nat and Pepper, they are locals of this universe and important figures in the future timeline, and Furuchi will not be unfavorable to the two. Hey, I said you two, don't keep playing dumb riddles, there is still someone here who doesn't understand the situation. Pepper said dissatisfied. There is indeed a missing section on the left, there is a supernatural force hiding there, ordinary people cannot see and cannot understand, because that place is half a level higher than the dimension of reality. Yibai explained to her that ordinary people cannot see high-dimensional things without guidance, and even the brain will not receive similar information, but because of the characteristics of high-dimensionality, ordinary people will subconsciously ignore this. Pepper can notice the abnormality here, and most of them have a little talent for practicing magic, and ordinary people will not pay attention to this kind of thing, because they forget about it when they turn their heads. Really? Can you all see it? See what? Pepper asked with interest. A two-story building that stands out, you'll find out later. Nat and she said. All the way to the gate of the building, Pepper stood here with a confused look and a little trance. Yibai slapped her on the shoulder, giving mysterious power. Pepper screamed shocked to find that she had seen something she hadn't seen before. That's really a building compared to this whole one. Jew, there really is this building. Pepper has been stunned. What is this? Legendary supernatural powers? What's such a thing? She was excited. Pepper had an adventurous heart, and now she was almost excited to discover something that most people couldn't discover. What's going to be here? Could it be something legendary? I hope that there are angels living in it, just like the Bible says that angels are on earth, and everyone has one by their side. Why don't you say that hell is empty, and the devil is on earth? Yibai rolled his eyes. Pepper is also a sister with a brain hole. Nat knocked on the door, and the door opened, and she shrugged at the two and took the lead and walked straight in. Yibai and Pepper followed. The environment here is similar to that in the movie, but it is different from the place in the zombie hero universe, which also has a small courtyard, and the sanctuary is directly placed on the side of the road. In the sanctuary, there was a woman with white hair and a red robe about 20 years old, with a crown of 3 flames burning on her head. Her appearance was 85 points, and her figure was covered by a loose robe. Who is this goods? Yibai said that he didn't know this guy. 3. Welcome to the sanctuary, I am Carrie, the queen of the dark world. The woman introduced herself. The corner of Yibai's mouth twitched. Dark world? That's Dormammu's territory. He thinks something is wrong with the timeline. Carrie, is she a character that doesn't appear long after Stephen Strange becomes Doctor Strange? Now that Gui is still there, why did Carrie jump out? Or become the queen of the dark world? Did she usurp the power of her uncle Dormammu and her mother Omar? In the plot of the comic, when Doctor Strange was exploring the dark world one time, he fought with Dormammu, and the mysterious white-haired girl secretly watched this scene and felt that Doctor Strange was a big hero, and when the other party was about to be killed by Dormammu, the mysterious white-haired girl saved him and became Doctor Strange's apprentice. The mysterious white-haired girl is Carrie. Can I ask you a question? Yibai asked. Ask, but I don't necessarily answer. Carrie said. Are you from the future timeline? Yibai asked his doubts. Carrie said, outsiders, you really know the future. With her words, her appearance and figure changed, and in an instant she changed into a bald middle-aged woman wearing a yellow monk's robe, who is not Gui. It turned out that the reason why Gui became Carrie was a temptation for whether Yibai, an outsider, knew the future, and apparently she knew what she wanted to know. Yibai was tricked. Gui this TM is an old fox, and he gave him an open door to kill when they first met. Pepper was also stunned, but her focus was different from Yibai's, but she was shocked to see the person on the other side who called herself Carrie suddenly changed. In her worldview, superpowers only exist in imagination and stories. Invisible buildings, shape-shifting people, she feels like Alice, sleepwalking in Wonderland. The most calm, but became Nat, supernatural power this kind of thing she saw yesterday night in the pocket space, magic knowledge is still clearly placed there, anyone can learn. Now that she sees it again, she sighs at most that her world also has supernatural powers, that's all. Episode 120, I have observed you on the timeline, from your birth to your death. Yibai narrowed his eyes and had an unhappy expression, and he decided to give Gui a dismount. You're a little inferior in the timeline. When you first arrived in this world, I foresaw today, and you didn't. Gui smiled and said something that made Yibai even more unhappy. Yibai had a violent temper, and he said, I just don't want to become omniscient, that will lose a lot of fun. Furuchi continued to say in a tone of anger and death, so I'm a guardian, and you're just a traverser who won't take much responsibility. Yibai raised his eyebrows, then look at you guardian, how much does your magic cost you? Look at your body has been hollowed out, the dark energy of your body, I don't know, I thought you were a Dormammu lackey, but anyone who knows will admire me. Gui's face is not ordinary thick, and such words can actually be said. Yi Bai. At this time, he could see that Gui had no malice towards him. But is this unhappiness swollen? Yi Bai rolled his eyes and had a new idea. He put away his unhappy expression, first looked at the timeline from the high-dimensional space, changed his behavior according to the timeline, and walked out of passivity. He smiled at the bald female Gui, and said in the correct Chinese, "Old Gu, let's make moves in the air. It can be regarded as a long time of friendship. I have a series of magic inheritance here, so I will reluctantly send you it." He took a magic book in his hand and handed it to Gui. If you want to use the magic in this magic book, you have to borrow Yi Bai's power, and the caster will owe Yi Bai a debt. It's like a magician borrowing the power of existence from another dimension to unleash spells. It seems that he didn't expect Yi Bai to have a reaction outside the foresight of the time gem, and Gui paused slightly. She took the magic book and looked at it a few times, having lived for hundreds of years and was as knowledgeable as her, and at a glance she could see that the magic recorded in this book came from a magical god she was not familiar with. "How much does it cost?" Furuchi asked. "That depends on how I'm feeling," Yi Bai said. As soon as he said this, Gui understood. The source of the magic in this book points directly to the guy in front of you. It seems that I still don't know enough about you. Are you interested in inheriting my mantle and becoming a supreme mage? According to Gui's idea, if Yi Bai, the source of magic, is to condescend to be the supreme mage of the earth, his magic, Karmatage's magician, can be used at will, without paying the price of casting. Think of beauty. I promise at most, the magic price I charge, the power and mystery, is a little less than the trinity of the Victory Emperor. Yi Bai's eyes smiled widely. Furuchi thought about it, nodded, and put the magic book away. When the two communicated, Xiaoyu paid attention to the content of the conversation between the two, although most of the content could not be understood, but the meaning of the word magic was still understood. She is now full of questions. Magic really exists? It seems that everything that happens in front of you proves this. Nat was very calm. She had seen it yesterday night. She had already been shocked. Now she was just curious about what Yi Bai's magic book was, and she planned to come and read it later. Next, Gui took the three people to visit the New York sanctuary and introduced them to the place. Under her introduction, Little Pepper felt that the materialist three views she had established in her previous life were completely unwanted, and the new three views gradually took shape. Yi Bai said without a head at this time, "We came from another parallel universe, there was an end of the world there, we fled to this side, before coming here, we brought all the magic books in this strange sanctuary. I think you should know who Strange is." Of course, Gui knows who Strange is. In fact, the supreme mages of the past often use the Eye of Agamotto to chat across time and space, which is a chat group dedicated to supreme mages, and the time gem in the Eye of Agamotto is a login account. Undoubtedly, Strange is the one with the highest IQ in the chat group. Gui was surprised, because Yi Bai said that he had the entire collection of books in another time and space sanctuary. She knows that there are differences in the world, and under the differences, the magic created by the ancestors will also be different. "You want to exchange knowledge with me?" Gui guessed Yi Bai's purpose. "Yes, my library here is completely open to you, and yours is also open to me?" Yi Bai nodded and acknowledged his purpose. "Yes, but you'll have to show me first." Gui said that she didn't know Yi Bai's ability, otherwise she would never say such a thing. Because Yi Bai can already choose whether to register Gui as a pocket space resident. Gui is a woman, not a man, although Yi Bai has no idea about her, but it is no problem to let her become a household. Anyway, it is just a place. It's always right to have more people on the magic side at home. Yes. Yi Bai nodded. By the way, he forced the Little Pepper who had a high favorability of himself into the pocket space household register, teleported with the three people present, and came to the pocket castle library in the next moment. Gui came here and saw this huge library full of shelves and books. She didn't wait for Yi Bai to greet and took the initiative to seek knowledge. There was far more knowledge here than Yi Bai described, and don't forget that he used this knowledge to exchange a lot of D&D magic knowledge from Veronica. Some knowledge of D&D was first condensed in a magic book, and Wanda classified the knowledge in that book into a series of magic books, which were stored here in a row. That is to say, Gui and Yi Bai exchanged knowledge with each other, and Gui earned it. But considering that Gui has been registered as a VIP resident of Pocket Space, it doesn't matter if he is a loss or not. Little Pepper felt that he must be dreaming today, otherwise how could he see so many things, beyond the three views? With the realization that he was dreaming, Pepper calmed down at his sudden appearance here, casually picked up a book on the shelf to flip through, and then was attracted by the knowledge that was very different from science. Nat Tion hasn't been here yet, but I've heard Wanda mention it, and now that she's here, she might as well take a look, and she's also curious about the legendary knowledge of magic. Yi Bai let Pepper and Nat hang out here, while he followed Furuchi and introduced her to the types of knowledge stored in each area. underscore.